Hey guys, welcome to another Graphic Sauce Media video. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about rethinking my highlight films. After a super busy third and fourth quarter last year in 2019, it kind of left a lot of things on my editing desk. And it's not creating an issue, so to speak, with my clients. It's more or less making some internal turmoil. And I want to make sure I get the best possible video to my clients as I can while still delivering it in a reasonable amount of time. Now, if you do any type of searching online for wedding videographers, you'll see that there's a wide range of when you'll get your final product delivered. The same goes for photography as well. It can be as little as 1 month, it could be as long as 6 months. It just depends. Right now, we're kind of falling in between the 2 and 3 month range. So really kind of pushing over into that 3 month window for delivery, especially with the fourth quarter that we had in 2019. And that's a direct result of the third and fourth quarters that we had in 2019. So I still want to deliver a decent product, a professional product that my clients will be happy to have, they'll be ecstatic to see, be able to share and get value out of for years and years and years to come. They can look back on this for the lifetime and just relive that exact moment. I still want to capture that, but I don't want it to take 3 months to get to them. So what do I do? So today we're going to be talking specifically about the highlight film itself. We'll break down the other films that I offer and kind of what they are in another video, but right now we're just focusing on the highlight film. So in 2019, I offered my clients a highlight film that ranged between 10 and 20 minutes. I'll give you a little bit of context here. I didn't make a single video that was 10 to 15 minutes long. All of my films were between 16 to 20 minutes and sometimes even longer than that. So this really wasn't a big deal for me. I kind of wore it as a badge of honor when I would talk to my potential clients. So the conversation kind of unfolds, and when I'm talking with my client over the phone, I always say something like, the highlight film is between 10 and 20 minutes long, but I'll be perfectly honest with you, I haven't delivered one that's been less than 16 minutes long, and it's gone upwards of 30 minutes from there on out. So like I said, I kind of wore that with a badge of honor. I'm like, wow, they're getting a really good, lengthy video that encompasses everything, that went, throughout the day, from the start of them getting ready to the final dance, all encompassed into this one video. And I was like, wow, this is, it's a great, value add. So, and this was my problem, right? Not recognizing the issue at hand. I was delivering a 20 to 30 minute highlight film, so to speak, right? That's not highlight, this is a feature film, right? So it was misrepresented. And it hit me like a ton of bricks when one of my clients gave me some honest feedback, and I appreciate that. I really do. Honest feedback is great. And this is kind of what sparked this video, actually. And she's like, my highlight video was an hour long. And I sent the link to a bunch of friends and family, and they're like, yeah, we don't really have a lot of time to watch it. We'll watch a little bit here and there, but we're not going to watch the whole thing. And the problem that I started thinking about what I was including in the highlight film, and kind of comparing to what others include and how they compose their highlight films. And what I found is I'm including everything, right? I'm including too much. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Like the getting ready, that's typically a couple minutes long. The dress shots are about a minute long. The guy's getting ready about 30 to 45 seconds long. The ceremony. Now, one thing I have changed in 2019 is I don't include the whole ceremony in the highlight film. I have a song selected, and I kind of pick out key moments of the actual ceremony, walking down the aisle, groom seeing the bride for the first time, usually the handoff from when the dad passes his daughter to the groom, exchanging of vows, exchanging of rings, first kiss, and then kind of like the procession, or then the recession back. I kind of include all that stuff, and then going into the actual reception, if they do any portraits and stuff like that, that's included in there. And then if we do any type of announcing into the actual reception, that's included. First dances, a good section of the first dances too. Not the whole thing, but a good section of it. And I think that's kind of where I'm running into issues. That and the entire speeches are included in there. So if you have, if you have two people giving speeches or whatever, it's only going to be, it's going to be a decent length. But if you have more than that, like 3 or 4 people, or someone's giving prayer or whatever, all that stuff I'm including in the reception portion of this highlight film. So what happens? So it's at this point, after kind of reviewing what I put into these actual films, I'm like, I need to rethink this. I need to go back to the drawing board, figure out exactly what needs to go into these. Still shoot everything, because that's important. Shooting everything is important because you don't know what's going to match up where, and people might make a certain reference, in the actual like reception toast that might have happened during like the preparation or whatever. You don't know when you can link, make those links or whatever. So recording everything is still important. What's the best way to tell a story without giving an hour long story? Because let's be honest, like I said, that's a feature film. That's not a highlight film. Highlight film is like, hey, this is how it went down. These are some of the key points that happened throughout the day. And I think one of the places where I'm going to be able to save a lot of time is those speeches, and kind of cutting those speeches up and putting them throughout the entire highlight film. Not just, okay, we're at the reception, here's the speech from start to finish, here's the guy talking, and here's the bride and groom, and kind of cut between those. No, it's going to be, bring that audio all the way through the actual highlight film and carry it, throughout the entire, entirety of the film. So going back to like rethinking this, and this is my thought process and kind of breaking down what I needed to do. I'm really going through my options and thinking, what do I need to do to make this better? Okay, so the way I look at it is I have 2 options, right? First option, I go through and cut down on what I'm going to deliver in a highlight film, right? I'm going to get that down to the actual 10 to 15 minute range that I promise, and not overindulge and go into the 20, 30, and sometimes even further type of highlight film. The featurette feature type of territory. So there's 2 different options. Number 1, I can cut back and include less, and kind of look at being more intentional with what I'm including. And this is going to be things like, how long does the intro take? How long does it take someone to understand where they are? Right? Does it take a full minute to set up an establishing shot for the ceremony? Like, okay, here's where you're located. Here's the front of the building. Here's some flowers. Here's the front of the, where the bride will be walking down. Here's where the groom's going to be in relationship to all that. And like, because what you're trying to do with an intro and establish a shot is try to give the guest, or give the person watching the film kind of an idea of where everything's located and the feel and like, the mood. And how much of that do they need? How much do they need, to get acquainted with that area? Some of mine are 30 seconds, some of mine are 2 minutes long, right? I would say 2 minutes is probably a little too long, right? If, I'm not being intentional with my actual clips. I'm not being as judgmental. I'm just saying, okay, this is in focus and this looks like a good shot. Great, let's include it. But you do that half a dozen times, and now you've got, a 2 minute intro. So the first option is to really tighten up the belt and find out, okay, my intros are going to be 35 seconds. That gives me room for 5 clips. What 5 clips are going to give the most information to my viewer, right? And this is good advice, like cutting down the time. Right, it's going to cut down my edit time. It's going to cut down the render time. It's going to cut down like the re-editing time, and I'm not going to have to go through as many clips. I'll basically say, okay, here's the clips that I like. Here's the ones that are the best of those, and which 5 do I want? It's easy as that. So I'm looking to cut down my editing time drastically. The other option is to add more editing time to the process, and the only way that I've figured out or kind of brainstormed how to do this is just by waking up earlier, right? So basically my work day, or my day basically says wake up at 6:30, go to work for 8 hours, come home, play with the family, spend time with the family, then get to the editing desk, edit for 3.5, 4 hours a night. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. So the only time in there, and I'm not willing to give up time with my family, so I'm not willing to do that. I'm willing to give up time elsewhere. The only time in that whole, day is the very beginning when I wake up, right? I can't drive to work faster to get more editing time in. That's ludicrous. I can't work less because my job requires me to work a certain number of hours. I'm not cutting out of time on my family. I don't want to stay up later past 12:30. I don't want to do that because then my waking up in the morning is that much more difficult. So my only option at this point is to wake up earlier. So rather than waking up at 6:30, wake up at let's say 5 or 5:30 and give myself that extra hour and a half to edit. Well, so lucky for you guys, I'm going to be doing a future video on doing just that. 30-day challenge, waking up at 5 a.m. So make sure you're subscribed, or that video will actually be coming out later next month. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell notification and all that stuff. But it tells you exactly how that went. So going back to the drawing board, I had two options. I've got the option of waking up early or being more intentional with what I was putting on screen in front of my guests. I don't want anybody to be alarmed, but just because I put things in front, and just because I'm more selective as to what I'm putting on the screen, doesn't mean I film any less. It means I film the exact same amount. It's just I'm more choosy, I'm more particular, I'm more intentional with what goes into the final product. So I had a few other examples and a few other things that I could do to kind of break up at least the length of these actual films. So with the idea of the highlight film being that it's including the intro, it's including the prep, it's including dress shots and the groom getting ready and the ceremony and the reception, all the things that go into this, right? And I'm going to be choosy as to what goes into this. That means there's going to be some good stuff that gets left on the cutting room floor that I still want to include. So some of the things that people come to expect that they're going to want to see down the road, like the entire speech, right? The entire speech from the best man, the entire speech from the maid of honor. If the father of the bride gives a speech, right? They're going to want to see that. Now, some of those speeches, not everything is worth including. There's some key phrases and some key statements in there that you want to kind of, like I said before, kind of like push through the entire film, from start to finish. And you don't just have to go, here's the ceremony, here's the reception, now people are speaking, nothing else can be on screen except for the people speaking. I think that's kind of where I'm running into a wall here, where I need to kind of break that up and include just what's important in those speeches. Not the whole speech, but what's included in the speech. Now, the consumer in me says, well, I want the whole conversation. I want the whole speech, right? Well, you can't have the whole speech in the highlight film and still have that cinematic story, right? Every sentence that person utters might not be worth the time investment in that actual film. So one of the things that I kind of was brainstorming was, what if I did exactly what I'm talking about, cut down on the highlight film and the speeches and all that stuff, and include just the key, like the real emotional parts in the actual highlight film, but in turn edit the full reception speeches, just cut just those and include those in a separate clip on the actual delivery of the final product, just as like a separate clip. Like, okay, like you're talking about like a Blu-ray menu system. You go to scene select and you got, here's all your scenes of like the highlight film, right? In bonus features, you've got like the full maid of honor speech, the full groom's, the full best man speech, and like those are selectable items. So you still get those if you want to watch those, but for like a cinematic purpose, giving them something that tells the story, it has a good flow to it, and it's not an hour long. Maybe that's the case. The other thing that I thought of is including a separate film, right? So you've got your highlight film that's between 10 to 15 minutes, and then maybe like a feature film, right? Maybe this is the hour-long film. Maybe this is where everything everything is included. You still get the cinematic shots. You still get the, the best audio possible between, multiple audio devices, and it's all composed in a certain way to where it'll tell the story from start to finish, but it's more of a extended type of story. And that might be something that maybe, you can put into your package design where, this package is including, you're going to get a highlight film that it's going to have this, this, and this included in it. And then I'm also give you, the full best man speech and the full maid of honor speech or any other speeches in there. Those will be included, but in a separate, separate snippet. And then if you want like a full feature film where those things are integrated into the actual film final product, then you're looking at more of a feature film, more of like an hour-long video. So I think there's room for both of those out there. I think there's clients that want both of those different things. Some people want a smaller video to share online and share with friends and family, and they want a film that they'll watch, their friends and family will spend to watch, and they might only have 10 minutes. Right? Maybe they don't want to sit down and watch a full hour-long video. But the bride and groom, that might be something that they want to watch. So you kind of have to think about what you're offering and who your target audience is and how long it takes you to do all that stuff. I think having a full feature film, that being an add-on to a package where, you pay for a base package and you get the ceremony, you get a highlight film that's between, 10 to 15 minutes and a teaser trailer for this price. And then if you want the full actual feature film, hour-long film, it's going to be this much more because it requires that much more editing. Might be on something. Alright guys, so that's the video for today. I hope you got some value out of it. And it just kind of goes to show you that just because you have a certain formula down, right, you have a certain way you do things, it's always good. It's always a good exercise to go back through and look and reevaluate yourself. And it also shows the importance of getting customer feedback, right? I eventually would have came to this conclusion and kind of was getting that kind of feeling in my stomach, in my gut about, are these videos that long and what do I need to do to decrease the length of editing and increase production value and things like that? But getting the information from the customer, right? That kicks you in the pants a little bit. So don't underestimate customer feedback. It's a huge tool that you can use to benefit your business. And if you're not listening to your customers, who are you working for? Is what I should ask, right? Who are you working for? Obviously, you have to take all feedback with a grain of salt, but there's something to be learned, some lesson learned in each one of those pieces of feedback. And it's up to us as content creators, as small business owners, to dissect what exactly we can do to benefit the customer and give them a superior product. Because nothing's perfect, right? This is, in this business, everything is, everything is always ever evolving. And it's kind of up to us to constantly be looking back and reevaluating our procedures, our processes, our systems to make sure that we're not falling behind, that we're not providing a subpar product. And that's what we did today, is listen to customer feedback, make some adjustments, kind of figure out different game plans, look at the different options that we have and which ones are feasible, which ones are not, and which ones are going to net us the most gain. And that's all there is to it. So appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy the content, leave us a like. If you're feeling extra giving today, go ahead and share it out on your favorite social media websites. Really, really do appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next video.